Hello, hello. Got some more Rage Forest action. More Rage Forest. Team FreakinAndy versus Team KingstoNe. And grab my YouTube URL. It's convenient that YouTube has a different URL for every stream, but also kind of inconvenient because I need to go and select it every stream. Making my post. I really should get a bot that does this. Alright, there we are. See, everyone's in their voice channels. Hopefully we're just about ready to go. Let me see if they have a draft up. And thank you to Luke16 for the follow. Also, let me know if there are any issues with the stream. Because we kind of want to test one other thing. Hello, MGH, CHG, CKCTYTT, Miss Luna Rain, and Lethal Audio Syndicate over on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. Woohoo, hello, only positive vibes. I think the first couple of those YouTube messages were before the chat started getting picked up on YouTube. But thank you, thank you. So, we're ready for some Rage Forest. Let me check out UE2CM.net to spectator dashboard. See if we can grab these drafts. And we have a draft. And let me flip my overlay. It'll be Team KingstoNe against Team FreakinAndy. KingstoNe usually uses a capital N, so I'll do that. There you are. Click the Twitch notification pretty quickly. And let's see, draft. Still some more work I can do on the overlay to make it prettier. But there we are. Our lovely Rage Forest draft. Georgians and Saracens. Saracens is the very first pick. Now that's a pick. Bulgarian's super high up in the draft orders too. Hello, unknown BNBN. I've been seeing the YouTube like get more active with people watching there, which is lovely. YouTube, I would love to be able to stream in 4K on YouTube. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can do it. Because Capture Rage seems to kill my GPU. If I ever do community games, next time I stream them on YouTube, we're gonna be doing those in 4K. But I can't use Capture Rage in 4K while streaming. Capture Rage suddenly uses 100% of my GPU, and then it cannot encode. And I was using AV1 encoding, so I could actually get the bitrate down low enough to stream in 4K on YouTube. I don't think I can do it with the 264 encoder. I can try the 265 encoder. That'll be my next test to see if Capture Rage still kills that. But I think we're good, because right now I'm just doing one stream and doing it both to Twitch and to YouTube. YouTube lets you do much higher quality than Twitch does, and I'd love to be able to do that properly. Let's go for another RF game. Yes. And in case anyone just tuning in, we made a small update to the rules regarding patrol stacking. We had in the past, and the past is a super long time ago as of yesterday, used exactly the rule that was in the World's Edge Handbook, which was you can't patrol on a small area continuously, but you could use patrol into fights or in the middle of fights. Personally, I think that you just shouldn't ban it at all and you should allow it, but Rage Forest lobbies seem to themselves use a even more stringent rule of pretty much no stand ground patrol at all. So that's what we went to, and our rule now says no stand ground patrol. And how that will be adjudicated will be admins will have to figure out what the punishment is. What we suspect is if it's a minor fight, it'll be deleting units. If it's a very egregious abuse of patrol stack, and like a big fight that'll decide the game, that'll probably be an admin loss. Does it count for range units? Nope, does not count for range units. Range units you can patrol however you want. And it's a very awkward thing, because patrolling units has always been how you micro fights in Age of Empires. Back from the AOC days. Played so many CBA games where a lot of the micro comes down to figuring out how to patrol properly. You had the Pike Patrol with Galley Micro. Hello, Black Drizzle. Sounds like I'm not a nightmare to keep track of. I think it's more a thing players themselves don't like it, so they're not likely to do it anyway. But the advantage of doing Rage Forest and not being a World's Edge event is that we do not have to have a 2-minute spectator delay. So admins can be spectating the game at live time along with the players who are playing it. So we don't need to wait 2 minutes to see something. We just see it right away. And he knows the power of the 2P. He saved them for the last pick. 2P and Vikings all the way at the end. Now, the team on the left could have banned Vikings if they didn't want them. But Celt Maya bans for Andy. Italian Cumin bans for KingstoNe. We'll see if they get the lobby hosted. This is our final set from round 1. And players will be scheduling for round 2, particularly once this one is over. Because then they'll know exactly when they can schedule. Hello, Sci-Fly. Why ban Maya? You might ban a Civ from the end of the draft simply because you don't want to play them. KingstoNe might have chosen to ban the Vikings if he doesn't want Vikings to be the very last pick. So maybe Andy, hoping to get 2P over Maya, might have tried to ban them. Sound is fixed now. Is it Sci-Fi? I increased the volume of the microphone. I'll need feedback on how it is in-game. Vikings #1. Cheaper docks for fish booming. That's got to be a nice bonus, right? One day we'll see Vikings, Dravidians, Japanese, Malay for fish booming. That'll be the ultimate Rage Forest combination. But yeah, Sci-Fi, you said it was kind of quiet, so I increased the volume of the microphone a bit. So let me know how that sounds for you. And then in-game, I might need to adjust the in-game sound slightly. But I was doing some OBS testing, and I thought it was a bit quiet too, so I made it louder. Alright, so I'm just going to wait for the players to get a lobby. TP hasn't been the worst, but there are definitely better options sometimes. Hello, Bonk's Healer. It's like a monk healing someone who got bonked. And check with other streams, and now it sounds similar, so good. Alright. Might need to adjust the game sound a bit, but that sounds good. me do some typing real quick. Alright, so lobby, just waiting for it. The teams are in their voice chats. They're deciding how to use their civs, undoubtedly. So looking at Andy, what are the flank civs he has? Wu, Byzantines, Aztecs, Malians, Tupi, Turks. Maybe Shu, all strike me as flank civs. Pockets, Saracens, Slavs, Lithuanians, Persians. Turks could be a pocket. Byzantines could be a pocket. Malians could be a pocket, and Tatars are a pocket. I mean, we did see a Tupi pocket, but that didn't work. Tube also sounds fine. It's going to be the same sound. That should be fine. OBS is just, it's louder. For KingstoNe, Muisca, Vikings, feel like flanks. I think he has a bit more flexibility where he uses civs. I feel like KingstoNe has more pocket civs, like Magyars, Franks, Georgians, Bulgarians. Wei could be a pocket. Kujur is usually a pocket. Berbers could be a pocket, but usually you're vil fighting with them on the flank. I think Camel Archers as a boom into Camel Archer pocket could be okay. Or even if you get the right civ matchup, boom into Camels to counter a Paladin rush. But usually they're going to be a flank. And the Camel Archers kind of come out a bit more easily if you're that low eco vil fight into get a castle up and do Camel Archer setup. Also, it is raining outside, and slightly to the west of me, there are tornado warnings. Last time this happened, a tornado struck down about 1 kilometer from my house, and that's what happened if you saw my stream the other week where my power went out briefly. Or only had to carry on without me for a few moments. So there is a tornado risk today. Alright, I think we're back. I called it. Just as I start talking about it, I jinxed it, and my power went out. It was just out for a second, but my PC's restarted. We're back. Twitch is going to play another ad again, so sorry about that. Blame the tornado. I don't live in a basement, no. But this is the ground floor. Some people would call it the first floor. Hey, we live in a log cabin in the woods. Also, is my draft isn't, see if I can refresh that. Those images are not updating. Right. Let me see if I can just, fix that. There we go. Alright, so give me a moment. Let me restart everything I need to start. Right. Restart the bot. Let me launch AoE 2 again. Players haven't gotten in the lobby yet, have they? Or it looks like they have. Oh my gosh, they're in the lobby. I think we're good now, right? We're good, chat? Hopefully that's the only tornado-based power outage I get this stream. I was at the gym earlier, and on the TVs, they were like, oh, a tornado warning. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. We had one of those last time. And then... I need to sign in for my YouTube account again. For my bot. Yeah, that's getting super annoying. I really need to redo how my bot works. So, yeah. I was watching the TV at the gym. They were like, oh boy, tornado warning. And then it started raining outside. I'm like, oh, not again. Don't kill my stream again. But I think we're okay. We got players in the lobby. All 8 players are there. And let me get Discord back open. So if my internet goes down, or my power goes down, the bad thing is I need to start from the game again and catch up to live time. Which means if we're like 3 hours in a game and the tornado hits me, that's going to be weird to catch up. We'll make it work somehow, though. See, Discord's not loading. Hello, Discord. Discord. Alright, Discord is straight up not loading for me. But I think we're in the game. So let me open up Capture Age. I think we're good. Alright, we got some Xing right away. It's an African map. Ville's going to fight. Let me get the teams up here. This is Team FreakinAndy. And then Team KingstoNe. There, orange versus gray on the scoreboard. Lovely, right away. Chaos to win as the Aztecs, fighting Dobbs as the Vikings. And they'll get a pretty even wall off. Good for Chaos to secure that pond. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pond map. On the other side, we got gray versus orange. Andy versus Kingston, the two captains on the flanks. They're walling off by a gold tile. Doesn't look like there's going to be too much violence there. Simple walls. Is this a recurring? This is not a recurring thing. Tornadoes for this region are extraordinarily rare. But this summer, we've been cursed with bad weather. We've had essentially smoke and fire from the Canadian wildfires drifting into the region. We've had tornadoes that now, for a few days, have come down. Maybe we put too much fire in that Rage Forest logo. And maybe we should have taken the fire out. Had less smoke to drift down. Anyway, here we have some more walling. Andy gonna wall up, but this is a very forward wall from Philip. He did a good job walling that lion. If Andy had 3 vills here, he might even be able to break a palisade before a vill could wall, but he's gonna be a lot safer. Lots of walls, but he needs them for these passages. Also, pretty far walls for Dobbs. And no wall here for Mathieu. So, Andy's team, Andy, Chaos, Mathieu, and Vodka. Kingston's team, Kingston, Dobbs, Philip, and DeGao. I should indicate that down there so the scores aren't flipping back and forth. I'm not that familiar with Mathieu, so if there are Rage Forest veterans out there who know him better than I do, I could use a description. Otherwise, I think I know everyone here. I've met half the players in this game. Are there extra resources in Dobbs' cave over here? He has the extra elephants. And there's an extra gold and a stone that spawned here. And also more extra elephants there. So actually, Dobbs, if he wants to lure 6 elephants, he'll be in a good spot. And he'll have a strong Vikings economy. And Eagle pokes down the scout. Funny how Onomaru is smashing up everyone Vitality didn't pick up has recreated Tyrant from First Principles. This is the Vanguard versus Barbataco's fight. Pretty much. Pretty much. So a few elephants under the TC for Andy. Still has one more he can lure in. I always expect Andy to be good with the elephant lures. Also, Andy always picks orange, so I guess that means he'll be on the flank every game. He usually is a flank player. I seem to remember him doing a lot of Portuguese Vitoria stuff in the past. So double walls from Dobbs. Dobbs doesn't dare leave the passage open. He'll go take his berries now as he sends another vill out. Doubtlessly looking for more elephants to bring in. I'd love if he brings in all 6 at the same time. Now, that's one of my favorite things about Rage Forest, seeing people bringing 6 elephants at once. We have some Xing here from Vodka. And when we look at the ponds, I think everyone now has a pond. DeGao has one. The only one who doesn't have a pond is the Vikings player, Dobbs. But at least having the Vikings player makes it a bit easier to do the early dock. Bit of a discount. Not as big of a discount as it was in AOC, but still, I think it's 128 wood instead of 150. So you basically get an extra house out of it. Just about. So, glorious 3 boar lore at least for KingstoNe. Bill's got to hop into TC. There it goes. And he's got them under nicely done. So, 7 out of the 8 players have docked. Dobbs could walk over here and dock should he want to. But from the flank, looks like he's going to be content just to hunt. And then ahead, maybe for some feudal age aggression. Maybe some men-at-arms trushing. Vikings would have extra HP on their men-at-arms. Going for a second lumber camp. Vikings versus Aztecs is something that I always find interesting, but more so on Arabia. The lack of monks makes it difficult for the Vikings to push, when Aztecs can go Redemption, Monk, and Mangonel defense. Mangonels deal with Rams, Monks deal with Mangonels. And Aztecs even going straight to Imp can be kind of deadly. Alright, so it looks like Dobbs does want to dock. So 8 players, 8 docks. Yep, that is Vodka the Observer, indeed. Can watch Vodka. And watch his fish boom. He observes for AoE 2 and for AoE 4 too. Yeah, the observer who observes. This time we can observe the observer. We'll figure out who watches the watchers. So, Chaos to win up to the feudal age. He's a first one up. And where is he sending these vills from that lumber camp? Heading right to that wall. Deleting it. And he's going to stone wall. Right where he had walled earlier. Alright, going to delete the palisade and stone wall. Going to do it one tile at a time. Make sure that there is no sneaky engagement from Dobbs that runs through. And the walls are deleted. There he goes. Gets the stone wall up. And looks like it will probably be then fast castles from everyone. No real aggression on either flank. But I suspect that our Cyan player here, Philip, could try to go forward. And you could end up seeing workshops or Mangonel pushes from either team by these forward walls. Now, were Philip to wall in the back, he has a long way where he can fall back and keep walling if Andy were to push here. Andy's more than one at risk of getting pushed from Philip. And here is KingstoNe adding in the walls. So someone mentioned the Barbatacos team from the league. KingstoNe and Dagao are playing together there. Miguel got snatched away by Doubt, though. Malian player with Vikings and Dravidian ally gets really cheap docks. That is very true. Cheap docks that give you extra housing space. Then you just need a melee player for the extra line of sight. Completely buff the docks. So Xing here, they see there's a repairville from Dobbs. I still think that's a spot where they could push. Now fish booms for everyone will be important. Personally, I'm just happy we have a map with 8 lakes, and the map isn't bugged. Sometimes you get these setups, and the ponds are trapped, and then you gotta restart, and you're all excited that you got so many lakes. And if you're gonna have Vikings, I think the best place to have them would be the 8 lake map. Here's a question: do Aztec fishing ships get extra carry capacity? They're at 20 now. Is that what normal fishing ships get? Let me see if I can find like a full one. 14, 15. Because the villagers get extra carry capacity. I thought it was 15 food. But maybe that changed? They now carry 20. Okay, so the Aztec fishing ships don't get extra carry capacity. But it is 20 food. Isn't there a save that got food for making docks? Oh, as the Vill here will get taken down. Looks like Dobbs wanted to stone wall, made a mistake with the Vill, and that will let the 2 scouts in. Oh, fishing lines upgrade raises it to 20. Okay, that explains it. I thought it was 15, but you're right. With fishing lines, it gets to 20. And Aztecs have it +3 carry capacity for their Vills. Doesn't matter for their fishing ships. That's how rarely Aztecs, I think, in competitive play, are seen on water maps. I didn't actually think of that bonus until now, after all the years I've watched Age of Empires, of whether it applied to their fishing ships. But the Eagle here will have Chaos to win, killing the first archer. Can he get a second? He doesn't want to engage there. You definitely want to wait for the Castle Age archer. And despite getting in, that villager will recover and re-wall. And the eagle there just going to run into archery ranges, but we'll see the double ranges from Dobbs. So if they had any question about what's going to happen with Dobbs, they're going to see the double ranges and know it's going to be a push with crossbowmen. Yeah, and then 25 after gillnets. So 1, 2, 3 TC boom, both from Vodka and from Andy, and also from both pockets on the other side. But here from Mathieu, we're going to have a stable and a workshop and some mangonels. So it looks like the role will be Dobbs goes crossbows and tries to defend from this push while his pocket booms. Dogao as the Frank's pocket. At the very least, he'll have paladins plus arbalests. The Vikings no longer get thumb ring, sadly, but they do get the unique tech that loads in that gives them +1 attack. Which probably overall is better, but far harder to get to. Hello, Arbase. Can I show the KD? 0-2 for Dobbs. 1-0, 1-0 for Chaos. Did Vodka lose something? No 4K stream. No 4K stream. What I determined, Arbase, is that I can stream in 4K if I'm not using Capture Age. Yeah, you missed that I dropped earlier. I had another tornado warning today, and my power briefly went out. So hopefully we're not going to have that happen again. But stone walls now from Dogao and from Dobbs. Dobbs doing a defensive workshop. A bit awkward if the push comes towards Dogao, because Dobbs is ready to defend over here. But he should have a good number of crossbowmen. And still on 1 TC, on gold. So going pretty heavily into the crossbow army. Free handcart does help out in this situation where your lumber camps get far from your wood line. The extra carry capacity helps with the vills. And I'll have a set of stone walls from Dobbs, as with that outpost he will see the workshop from Chaos. There's a mangonel push over here from Andy. And perhaps surprisingly for me, Philip's not pushing. Philip's just booming. He's just gonna rely on the fish boom with the Georgians and rely on KingstoNe to do the push. FreakinAndy as the Turks can be a scary late game save if he booms. We have Chaos up to Imp, so Chaos doing a 1 TC Imp with a fish boom. And he's gonna get ready to push, probably go for some type of block printing monks. They get up to 12 range and can convert for a huge distance and really stop Vils from re-walling. Mathieu wants to wall Dobbs in forward and keep this passage secure. Dobbs does not want to let that happen with his mangonel. Xing both passages now is Philip. Andy gonna wall more behind this. Is having a fortified church by the pond? It does not, as far as I'm aware. Ponds don't need fortified churches. Wait, the Vil attacking the Lion. The Lion's gonna fight back! Ooh, okay, that Vil 1 HP. That was a danger there. That was a danger. Oh, nice mangonel shot from Mathieu. Now Dobbs will need more mangonels. There's a stepped lancer forward from Mathieu. And indeed, they are going to push Dogao's side. Dogao might have to sacrifice a Vil. And he's careful the wall. Get another tileless stone wall right there if he wants to. And it'll be more TCs for Dobbs. Now, with Imp about to come in from Chaos, Dobbs could be in trouble if he's simply 3 TC booming. Not really going to be able to fight Imperial Age Aztec monks. I mean, even if he is Imp, Vikings do kind of struggle against that. They can get a lot of Arbs, or Skirmishers. But the combination of monks and other units then can be pretty devastating. Oh, there's immediate redemption monks going for conversions. The Imp upgrades, block printing, illumination, theocracy, range, faith regeneration, and group conversions all coming in. And at the same time, fortified wall from Andy. He's walling up. And remember, Andy as the Turks won't be able to cut. Would have to rely on Vodka as the Slavs to cut. So with Slavs on one side, Aztecs on the other, they do have siege onager civs on both sides. Although Aztec flank often doesn't have the economy for that. So monks convert a couple of crossbows. And the gate looks like it will go down to the mangonels. And Dobbs will wall up behind this. So he's getting pushed. And not pushed from the direction of Chaos so far, though. Just pushed here. Chaos and Mateo combined. The monks for the Aztecs player are in this passage supporting the mangonels. Mangonel out for Dobbs. Picks off one mangonel and gets destroyed. And for his sake, at least, is not converted. And we have Imperial Age on the way for Vodka. As the Rams are added into the push for KingstoNe. And he'll have his own bombard cannon behind the push supporting it. And he's up to Imp. He is the Turks, so remember he will get the instant bombard cannon option. And he will wall this up. Andy playing as though he were Fat Slob this game. And throwing as many wall layers as he can. Crossbows can't do much against the monks with 12 range, especially with all the HP they have. 75 HP. They can get up to 100 now as the Aztecs since Devotion was added. I think everyone, mostly other than Dobbs, is up to the Imperial Age. Dobbs 60 Vils. I feel like Dobbs is struggling compared to everyone else trying to deal with this push. And doesn't even have that many fish traps now. Went for 3 TCs. But somehow we'll have to deal with all the Aztec monks. And the only real way to do with that is hope that you can stall for Dogao to come and rescue you. The Franks do have Heresy for Dogao as the pocket. We'll have a forward castle from Philip. And it is something to be aware of if you're fighting that many Aztec monks. But few conversions coming on the crossbowmen. The mangonels are there, as are some knights. And can Dobbs actually finish this castle? The mangonels are rolling forward. The castle's at 85%. Looks like it'll go up. And that'll clear some of this push. Some pikemen are here for Vodka, so Vodka's gonna triple this side. They smell blood, and they also see that the Franks' pocket can't help all that well against pikemen. Maybe this is crazy, but could Dogao actually have gone throwing axemen here? Maybe anticipating the pikemen? Vodka will try to play both sides. But now he might need Siege Onager at both sides, as the Aztec player probably won't get there soon. There's Siege Engineers for him. And now it's up to Micro. How well will KingstoNe do with that bombard cannon? It's a little hit on the Onager. It's a big hit on the Onager. Vodka will try to delay the castle, keep the cannon away. Delaying the castle gives Andy time to start getting his own cannon out. A guard tower. Pike counter paladins. Halbs counter paladins. And they very much counter light cav, which is what Dogao wanted to open with in the face of all the monks. Yeah, I don't know if light cav is worth it here against Halb. Part of me thinks Heresy plus straight into Paladins could have been better. Dogao is on the defensive. He is continuing to wall up. And it feels like on this side, they're hoping the other side can get a sustained push going. As scores are flipping back and forth. And the cannon are here for KingstoNe. Andy making some trebs from his castle too as he repairs and brings his own cannon forward. No artillery yet for him. Onager hits the forward Vil. KingstoNe has a few archers out, but shouldn't do much in the presence of the Slav Onagers. Also getting Bombard Tower for Andy, as both players with forward castles will be repairing them during this push. And the Aztec monks, for the moment, just regrouping. Dogao trying to get paladins back. I saw an X over here. Maybe they're thinking of trying to cut there and spam the paladins. Onager is still hitting the crossbows. Crossbows going down. And Siege Onager on the way. There's Paladin for Dogao. So Siege Onager for Vodka. On the other side, Paladin for Dogao. And Dogao is coming this way with an X here. And with that workshop, there's an Onager queued. Philip needs to lose some units because he's at the pop cap and not queuing the Onager. He did lose a castle. But it's the units he needs to lose. It's a lot of bombard cannon now for KingstoNe. 6 of them. Andy has artillery now, 12 plus 2. So the castle might fall, but at least he has the unique tech in. can see, did Andy get conscription? Yes, he did. So he got all the castle techs, Sipahi, other than maybe sappers. But Onager shots now landing on those halbs. As the keep will go down. And forward buildings, difficult for both teams when there are so many cannon out. Halbs here not really doing the job for Philip, getting picked off by the Onagers. Even that Onager getting hit. He will lack wood income without sappers, exactly. Siege Onagers going for the workshop. And taking out the archers. And the castle now besieged by Andy. Andy has now 8 bombard cannon, taking that down. To the left, there's a bit of a cut, but more walls behind that from Dobbs. Does give the monks a bit more room to operate. Dobbs trying to hold still, has crossbowmen, and is going for berserks. We'll have siege onager now also from Philip. And Dergao, as the cut comes in, will be moving with his paladins to try to get in, but good walling from Vodka behind this. There are a couple of houses here he needs to make sure he gets walls behind, but so far so good with the walling. The trade cart could open the gate. Dergao doesn't notice it though, and the gate is locked in time. Vodka locking the gate. But the paladins are here now, and there aren't enough halbs to defend from the paladins. They will pick off the siege. He'll pick off all the trebs. And that is a lot of bombard cannon that could die to the paladins. Turk cannon have extra HP. Paladin could also pick off the vills doing the towers. It is rather hard to kill these cannon, especially with the bombard towers defending them. And there will be 6 that survive or so. This one down very, very low, down to 2 HP, but survives. And the towers will continue the push. So that's Dergao's attempt to help the other side. Certainly helped, but didn't dominate. Now elite Keshik forward for Mateu. As the castle goes down, all the army ejects to the front for Dobbs. Might not have been where he wanted the gather point, but there would have been Paladin ready to support him had he gone to the back. More paladins for Dergao coming forward, but he doesn't have his army all together, and he doesn't have the numbers. Elite Keshik versus Paladin. I think the Frankish Paladin themselves are the stronger unit. But right now, Dergao seems that he doesn't have the numbers, but he's okay to fight still. More Elite Keshiks pouring in from Mateu. So many Keshiks, 32, and they're generating gold as they fight. Remember, this unit generates gold. They are going in for the crossbowmen. A workshop from Philip in the middle, trying to play siege onager this side, but that might not be in time, as the Keshiks already are leading the charge. And on the other side, the onager cut. Siege onager plus artillery cannon. Now that is a combination. As the workshop crumbles to the cannon shots. And Philip has the task of microing onagers, or siege onagers, against artillery. And now the trade is somewhat up for Kingstone, but they're just starting their trade. Let's see, both teams starting to. Trade cards being added in around 40 minutes. We see markets on both sides. But that worries me. There's no real way to trade to Dobbs's base. They have to go to the back of Dergao's base. So they're basically one base down at this point. And Dergao doing what he can with his trebs. His paladin's fighting the monks. Does he have heresy? He does have heresy. So heresy and faith. Devotion, faith, and heresy, all against the Aztec monks. Resist the conversions as much as possible, then die instead of being converted. One of the things that also makes the Franks a great paladin civ, that they have all the defense techs against monks. And he's trying to dive trebs, but there's another forward castle for Mateu. It feels like things just keep getting better and better for Andy's team. Dobbs invested a lot into the early crossbows to defend the push, but it feels like the other team didn't push as hard as he was expecting. And while they pressured the walls, Dobbs full committed to the crossbow defense instead of booming. So they nicely managed between Chaos and Mateo to get the right combination of boom versus pressure. Yeah, at least Dobbs did manage to evacuate Vills. We've seen that quite a few times. You evacuate Vills on Rage Forest, and you come back and boom. Hard for the Vikings to reboom, though. No Halb, no Hussar. They can go Skirm, but that's not really going to be a useful composition when they reboom. I always think, as KingstoNe calls the GG, when you're rebooming, you need to think about what trash unit to open with before you get gold. But there's the GG. And 166 kills for Mateo. Well pushed. 77k res for Philip, but not enough to hold. And even with Vikings and melee on the pond map, not enough to help KingstoNe's team. Andy even ended up with the Slavs on a pond map instead of a farming map. They gathered the most vills of the Franks, but I feel Franks are kind of limited outside of Paladins. And okay, my Discord still isn't loading. So let me just close that. I need to access that on my phone. Okay, so let me try opening it again. Oh, OBS? No, I don't want to reopen OBS. I need my scoreboard. Disrespecting Frank Skirms. Andy wins the game there. Let's get an ad out of the way as we update this. And that was Slavs, Turks, Tatars, and Aztecs against Malay, Georgians, Franks. Ooh, some very early picks. And Vikings. Team Andy is scary, says Sato. Start capture age. Frank's gunpowder plus halbs is also handy. Bet it is. I mean, axemen are handy too. In the lobby again. Part of me wonders if there would have been room to go axemen there. But he tried to help the other side, and he killed a lot of siege. But the other side was too boomed if they could replenish the siege. But hard for Dobbs as the Vikings, really, to make use of them. So ad break ended in the lobby for the next one. So, civs remaining. Looking at KingstoNe's team. Bulgarians, Magyars, Saracens make sense as pockets, as do probably Gajurs. Gajurs, I think, are an interesting flank civ. You get the berries under your TC. And if you can do an early mill, you can put your sheep in the mill and generate food while you're Vil fighting. But there's also the trade-off that you need to Vil fight so early that you might not be able to do the mill. So I'm not entirely sure what to think of them. And I'm sure someone with more RF experience might know. I think usually I see them as a pocket with the option to go for really good camels. Thank you, Cosmonow Taz123 for the follow. Yeah, YouTube, it was not your phone that crashed, it was my internet that crashed earlier. And looks like a bit of a switch up in the rosters, as I'm not familiar with this player either, but Mola will be on. 2191 rating. I feel like I've seen them in RF lobbies before. But like Mateo, I'm not quite as familiar with them. His instead of 1, 3, and 4 is ouch. At least they got past the Vikings. Lack of bombard cannon civs for KingstoNe. They have Berbers, Gajurs. Yeah, that's true. Their siege onager civs would be Bulgarians and Muisca. Inca only have onagers. I think Wei only have onagers. Gajurs, I think, only have onagers. Andy still has Saracens for onager, cannon, Mamluk. Saracen's a good late game civ. Byzantines will have cannon, Malians will have siege onagers. And here we go into the next game. Launching in. And immediately they pause. We have a bugged lake, so we will restart. I'll restart.
Yes.
Alright. So restarting with a bugged lake. That's the wonderful thing too about not having the spectator delay. So much easier for us to see what's going on, know if there's a restart, understand what's happening. There was Masters of Rage Forest that had arbitrary teams you could sign up with last time. I think part of the fun of this event is you get to have players with a chance to win, even if they're not the absolute top players. You need to learn about all the, everyone who's probably like 2K3 plus. When you think about the number of bans, I feel like it'd be more interesting to leave slightly more civs in the pool. I do kind of like that you use every single civ, and that there's enough randomness that you have to make different decisions about what civs to draft. It does maybe get awkward that civs at the end will kind of be at the end every time. And once more in the lobby. And also, if you were around yesterday in the Discord, we had some questions about patrol stacking. That we had revised the rules for that. Rage Forest lobbies seemed to straight up disallow all patrol stacking far more harshly than the World's Edge handbook does. So we have made that the official rule of the tournament. And because we are in live time and don't have a spec delay, we don't need to do strict admin losses if we're like 2 hours in a game and someone takes a small inconsequential fight. We can do penalties like forcing players to delete units based on how severe the fight is. So it'll be something we figure out how to do. But for the most part, I think players just don't like patrol stacking and will be happy not to do it. But we'll see what controversies come up. Patrol stack or stand ground patrol. I'm using those terms interchangeably. And here we have Andy in the orange. Once more against KingstoNe in the gray. Wu versus Gajurs. And it is Gajurs on the flank, so he will immediately be doing the mill. Alright, yeah, so this is how I thought you'd end up playing them, is you do a mill immediately, and then you can send all your vills to fight, and you'll generate food from the sheep in the mill. So the other side is red versus blue. We'll have Mala versus Dobbs. Mala coming on for Andy's team, replacing Chaos to win. Each captain drafts 4 players. They have a total of 5 players per team. And some pocket scouts. Mateo a bit sooner to get here than Philip. This will be Romans versus Byzantines. Romans versus their future selves. Both flanks use their scouts, and they're sending more Vils to fight. And it looks like KingstoNe isn't going to try to wall right away. He wants to go forward. And I think the thought process here is that the more he Vil fights and the more chaos he can cause, the more benefit he'll get from having the herdables inside of the mill. And there is more herdables that he needs to pick up somewhere, I think. Unless they were lamed. But he only has 6 inside of there, and he can have 8. Unless he took them. I don't think he did. Is that a mirror matchup? Yeah, now more Vils coming forward for KingstoNe. He might lose the Camel Scout. Vodka losing some HP on his scout now. 2 under his TC? Are there sheep under? Oh, there they are. I just didn't see them. The downside of being the gray player. There they are. And he should put them over here. When we do have a pause, what is the pause for? Pause by Mateo. Not sure what he's pausing about. He also might not see them, right? He's playing as gray. I don't see any in-game chat. Okay, I see a 14. You just needed a slight pause, I guess.
Yes.
There's a quick yes. And now 5 Vils forward for KingstoNe. And looking at the idle time, only 5 seconds of idle time versus only 1 for FreakinAndy. So Andy doing what he can to keep the food under the TC running. No lumber camp yet. The awkward thing for KingstoNe will be he'll need to get some wood from a tree. So I can click that and see resources. Okay, he has 50 wood, so he can do houses still. He will eventually need to do houses and also collect wood for the lumber camp. And now he's idling the TC a bit with all the Vils he has forward. So all those sheep sitting under the TC, I think he didn't notice them. Oh, he finally noticed them and put them in the mill. Thank you, Liaska Hauki, for the follow. So yeah, maybe a bit of idle time just not noticing those final 2 sheep. The downside of being the gray player. Sometimes you gotta swap to team colors for the Dark Age when you're gray. I end up doing that myself a lot of the time. Yep, it's, as everybody says, it's logarithmic. If you want to be really nerdy, the food per minute is 15 times the natural log of 1 plus the total amount of food in all of your mills divided by 200. So Degal wanted to wall, but his Vil will have to be forced back as Andy comes forward to fight. Hello, Gnugap. So Degal's Vil back. Andy will get a very forward wall off. And Degal looks like I was thinking of fighting maybe, but he'll wall off behind it. And he'll send another Vil too as he's doing Loom. I mean, Andy with Loom, yeah, he sees that the Vil doesn't have Loom, and he's going to go forward. I was thinking he could be more aggressive there, but now that Loom's in, he'll fall back, but needs to wall that. Okay, Degal not going to try to force through the wall. Andy going for a triple Borlor at the same time. That Vil has 6 HP. One more hit kills the Vil. And he needs to garrison. He doesn't garrison. And the Vils go down. He got greedy trying to position the boars under the TC. And he loses the villager. Oh, that poor villager. We caught that, Andy. We caught that. Greedy Vil dead, GG. Well, let's see. Okay, this Mateo has enough HP. He's got that. No worries there for him. What about Vodka? Are we gonna observe Vodka doing something extra greedy? Where's that Vil going? Up over there. Okay, he's gonna be a while to lure those. That's what I like about Black Forest. You have something happening in the Dark Age right from the start. Also, it is a 1-pond map where both pawns are on the flank facing each other. Our Roman-Byzantine matchup. You never tell your teammates. So triple Borrelora here from Philip. And he'll get those in successfully. So how's Vodka doing? Oh, he hasn't even taken a hit. Vodka doesn't need Loom. He's blocking everything. Perfectly done from Vodka. Doesn't even need to spend time with the Palisades. Loris, feeling the presence of observing the observer. The pressure of it. Oh, looks like it's going to be good. Does Vil take another hit? He's going to hop inside. That's about as good as you could hope for. Alright, Vodka. Calm under the pressure of being watched. Gets the boars exactly where he wants them, and he'll even be pushing an Ibex at the same time. So our red player over here, the Byzantine flank, will be going for the tower rush. Mullah going against Dobbs. Dobbs has a barracks. And both flanks here, goal is to protect your pocket's fish boom. So this tower will be helping to break through the walls. And it was a forward wall from Dobbs, so the response is the tower. And Mullah has to be careful here. That one palisade doesn't actually wall anything if Dobbs deletes his walls. Dobbs going to go for a quick defensive tower. 2 Vils in the tower from Mullah, 3 attacking the wall. This is actually an area where I think disallowing patrol stacking is impactful for Rage Forest. Where if you have, say, 5 men-at-arms and you want to attack one tile, it would be possible to patrol them all together to attack at the same time. But they're not going to fit if you disallow the stack. And maybe Mullah getting a bit too far forward. He could get walled. Nope. Gets back. Does not want to get walled. He saw what Dobbs was doing. And Mullah's going to try to send full HP Vils to the front to Vil fight while garrisoning the weak ones in the tower to shoot arrows. You need 4 Vils in the tower to shoot the max number of arrows. And the gate does go up, but that is a very weak foundation for Dobbs. And I don't know if there's enough HP on it really to matter. Another gate behind this. Oh, that's a gate from Mullah. Mullah trying to wall to keep the Vils from being able to escape. That's a low HP Vil. That Vil will go down for Dobbs. And Dobbs now has to try to break this gate so he can fight again. Unless he can garrison in and out of the tower somehow. Maybe go around the front of the tower to fight. If he's trying to ungarrison with a locked gate from Mullah. And yeah, he'll delete the gate and then he'll fight. And those Vils are going to try to get back to the tower. The militia will give chase. And now there'll be some repairs on the tower from Dobbs. Nice garrison to dodge the arrows. And as Xing down here from Vodka, maybe noting that Dagao is going for some stone walls. And over here, Andy doing some walls behind this tower from KingstoNe. Making sure he doesn't get pushed early, but the tower will at least mean Andy needs a rather large area of stone walls instead of a close one. So pockets, again, just in the one side of the map for fishing. One pond for the Persians, one pond for the Bulgarians. Persians have the faster working docks, faster working TCs, and will be happy to have a pond. I don't believe building through diagonal walls is banned. Or the gates through there. That was not in the list of rules Censor had given me. I know I've seen them ban that in lobbies before. As far as I'm aware, that is currently allowed. Okay, Vil down. And there's Dobbs losing a Vil, losing a militia too. So from KD, that's 3 Vils lost for Dobbs. 3 kills from Mullah. And the Byzantine towers, remember, they have extra hit points like all their buildings do. And forward workshop for Vodka. Remember, he'd been Xing here earlier when he saw the stone walls. Thinking of pushing. Dagao with a villager over by KingstoNe, maybe thinking of doing a workshop and trying to push into Andy's base. And he's already given up a large area of land, as I said, by that tower. And it will be aggressive workshops on both sides from Philip going forward too. So both pockets being aggressive for KingstoNe's team. And the pond still being fished from Mateo. I don't think he has a Vil there anymore, so he'll need another Vil. Oh, there it is. The Vil's doing the workshop. If he wants more docks. The Gao, of course, with the Vil here, he can add more docks when he wants to. And he going infantry. He has 3 militia, but I think those were just from earlier. I mean, the Wu could go infantry. I feel like a Wu flank almost always wants to be on fire archers, though, so that's why he's on stone. Remember, fire archers have extra long range against buildings and will do bonus damage against them. So you can push with them on the flank. I don't think I've seen it be successful yet in a Rage Forest game, but there's always a chance for it. They were a heavily favored pick on Coast Arena. As the Mangonel will try to push through the walls, there'll be some Vills fighting the palisades. Blue kind of Titanic losing the forward wall. Aggressive Trush from Mala. But yeah, it would have been much better to fight with a forward wall, where you're even maybe hitting Mala's gold if you get monks there. Have an earlier push. Andy decided not to fight over the tower at all. KingstoNe will be stonewalling behind this as Degao moves forward with Mangonels potentially to push. That Vil able to repair the outpost across the diagonal. The idle times, Persians only 2 or 3 Vils more than Bulgarians. Remember, they both have a fish boom, and they're both starting to hit castles, so I think it'll be a bit of time until the 3 TCs working faster pays off. 58 to 53. A few more fishing ships, too. So, I mean, Mateo is pulling ahead in Vils, just not quite there yet. But Bulgarians, I think, have a very scary composition because of how easily they can get to their heavy siege. And up the Mangonel push from Degao gets through. Andy had just committed to a palisade wall, and he's losing a ton of hills. He tried to do a castle by his TC where it was safe. Maybe it needed to be back more. And, okay, all of a sudden, Andy has lost 6 Vils total. Ouch. And he's gonna go fire archers. Vodka will be adding camels now as the Malian pocket, knight plus camel. He'll close in on the Mangonels from Degao and be able to take them down. And he'll win that fight for sure. Could you maybe even think about pushing the tower, but he'll pull back. And there's a siege tower. What is the siege tower doing? There's nothing to garrison within the siege tower. It's just there. Vodka just saying, this is the best unit in the game. I don't even need anything inside of it. I'll add it with my Mangonels. It'll just stand there and look intimidating. Were there... I think maybe the men-at-arms from Andy had got... He must have gotten the men-at-arms in from Andy. I guess that means if you siege tower, then your opponent can't rewall if you get your men-at-arms in. I think that must have been what happened. I think these couple of spears and men-at-arms got through with the siege tower. This push, not really going anywhere. There are some walls from Dobbs, but Dobbs needs to be extra careful it doesn't get to the fish. His goal is protect the fish more than anything. Bear chasing the Vil from Vodka. Vodka needs to deal with that. The last thing he wants is a bear stopping his forward. He needs his knight to help the Vil. He needs his knight to help the Vil. The bear will kill his forward villager. Vodka, we observed that. You did your boiler perfectly, but your Vil lost to the bear. You had a knight that could have saved him. And now these walls you wanted won't go up. Oh, poor Vodka. Hey, maybe the pressure being observed is getting to him now. And we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 total TCs for Dobbs as he's defending this push. But 4 TCs worry me if the Byzantines are going to go imp, which they are, and very quickly let the Persians in for a Savar raid. It's going to be up to Philip to have enough halbs to stop that and still hold the choke point. Oh, that bear. It's not even as strong as a bear. It's a reskinned wolf. That was crazy. One of those abandoned settlement wall campaigns. Yeah, one of those scenario editor things where you damage the walls to make it look like the town was attacked. Yeah, so fire archers, they'll take a while to destroy the watchtower. They really need to be amassed in order to take out buildings. Reskinned wolf, nice taxidermy. Yep, that's one of the things we did to the map. All of these predators. What's that? A bear out there? One there. When they made the patch that made them all behave differently, I changed them back so they were just wolves. But I kept the skin so they looked different. The Black Forest players seemed to prefer that they didn't suddenly lose Vils in different ways to predators. With the poison damage or the stronger bears. Because that can be kind of unfair sometimes depending on the map gen. If one player faces bears and another faces wolves. So they're all the same now. Yeah, no poison damage or charge damage. A mangonel attacked by the camels. Camels don't want to face the fire archers directly, but the fire archers go for the monk. And the backup camels from Vodka still are pressuring. So Degao trying to defend. His score is far below Vodka's. And Vil count actually favoring Vodka 2. Magyars or Civ, if they're not going Cav archers, that I think could struggle against the Malians, since their night line should be countered by the camels with eventual Farimba. And what did... Oh, Vodka, you just mangonelled his own monk, too! Vodka! And now he's gonna block the traffic. Vodka's not having a good day in this passage. He is not at all. Lost the build to a bear. Attack grounded his own monk there, trying to break the wall more. Anyway, big fight here. Now the fire archers going to be surrounded by the camels. KingstoNe going pretty heavily into camels as the Gajurs. Will be better than the Malian camels now since they have that attack bonus. Both players with bloodlines, but the Gajur ones will be stronger. More support though from the fire archers. But more numbers here as the mangonel goes down for Andy. And it feels like KingstoNe's going to turn this around. And give Degao much more breathing space. As there will be a forward castle, a Byzantine castle no less now, with Mala up to amp. So Mala and Mateu both amp. The Persians, 142 to 144 Vils compared to the Bulgarian pocket. And this is where Persians, usually you go Savars. I'm just trying to see where are the military buildings. It's nothing but docks. What he's going to do is go Savars on the other side. He's going to be like, okay, you're Byzantines, you can do an early fast imp push. You'll have the Trebs, you can go for the docks. Dobbs going to go even closer for the castle. Dobbs is not up. And he could go for some type of ram push. But now, I think recognizing the Persians are over here, we're going to have two-handed swordsmen and pikemen into halbs from the Bulgarians. So it's going to be a 3v3 on the southern side. Camels, Savars, and fire archers. I think the camels start to lose their effectiveness a bit when the Bulgarians get involved. Yeah, getting this wall up has been an ordeal, but it is up now for Vodka. And over here, that workshop for Degao hasn't really accomplished much, but we will have a very forward wall from KingstoNe. I'll make it awkward for Andy if he ever wants to push into KingstoNe, but he is here with a lot of fire archers. And yeah, Andy had even tried. He'd even tried to wall KingstoNe off. If those gates go up, that's actually devastating for KingstoNe's team, because then he can't help Degao with the camels. It looks like that's where they want to push. We'll have an onager for Philip. As the Treb fight is commencing. But this castle will go down. There's no way you're in the Castle Age and winning a castle fight against the Byzantines. And if you're the Romans, I saw them doing the swordsman line upgrades, you're still against the potential of cataphracts, even-hand cannoneers. So one more big fight with camels as Andy really is trying to get these gates up. The camels come forward. And Vodka... Andy may have walled Vodka a bit far forward, but KingstoNe doesn't want to fight with the archers there. And now that the gates are up, Degao is isolated. Yeah, his pocket can help him, but the Savars are in. Now maybe struggle a bit with the halbs, but Degao, his eco is crumbling. He's down to 67 Vils. And Dobbs, I mean, he's at 112 Vils against 50 from Mala. But that's going to be Byzantines. So now fire archers can besiege the town centers from Andy. Savars can raid everything. Thank you, Suva, for the follow. as Halbs come forward, but it's going to be a while before the Halbs help out, and the Wu with fire archers even have a way of killing Halbs, of killing the two-handed swordsmen, which have a lot of extra melee armor when they get their unique tech, but not pierce armor. Right now, I think the Savars are going to dominate. As the Trebs push some cannon galleons from the pond. That's actually clutch from Philip. That the cannon galleons can hit that castle. I don't think Mala considered that when he built the forward castle. The fact cannon galleons can hit it. And that means the Trebs really can't go forward either with cannon galleons. Yeah, the Trebs can outrange them. Byzantines don't have siege engineers. The Bulgarians do. They don't have elite cannon galleon, though. So they can get up to 14 range. Trebs at 16 range. So maybe the first couple of docks and fish traps get pushed, but not the entire base. More forward castles coming in the south, though, as I think KingstoNe is struggling with the fact he's cut off. His elephants are going to try to ram the gates to get through, but they'll go down to the fire archers. And monks. Monks could convert the cannon galleons. These are Byzantine monks that heal each other faster. One cannon galleon is converted. Will a second be converted? Remember, ships resist conversion. And there might need to be some devotion added in now for Philip. At least the cannon galleons, they outrange the block printing monks, so they can fight back. That one cannon galleon being converted is kind of tricky. Remember, in a normal game, you could just garrison docks with the fishing ships to attack the cannon galleon. Oh, that's so silly. There's no room for the cannon galleons to ungarrison from the dock, so they just spawned inside of it. Yeah, that's what units do when there's no room because of the fish traps. But pikemen push forward from Dobbs. He's going to take out some of these Trebs. He has a gate there. There are walls behind the gate. He needs to delete the gate so he can figure out what to right-click. Cannon galleons can keep the Trebs back, and so far Dobbs is holding this, and he'll be 135 to 57 Vils, and Mala won't be able to hold much longer against Dobbs. The problem is Dagao is dying, and KingstoNe will be completely isolated. I don't think there's much KingstoNe's going to be able to do. Let's see, the wall is down, but immediately Andy re-walls it, so one group of camels gets in. KingstoNe's up to imp himself. Gajur camels would be great for helping Dagao against the Savars. The fire archers themselves, still not the best unit. Are they still normal fire archers? Is Andy still in the castle age? Do you know since when you can convert ships without redemption? You always could. Unless that was an Age of Kings to AOC change, like super long ago. You always could convert ships without redemption. Yeah, especially. Yep, you could in AOC, yes. Ships have always had a bit of extra conversion resistance, but you've never needed redemption. So, castle being pushed by a Treb. We'll have more cannon now coming forward for Vodka. Molly and cannon, no siege engineers for them. Capped ram for Philip. Philip desperately trying to hold with just Halbs. This is maybe the downside of the Bulgarian pocket, that they don't really have a power unit. I guess they could go for Konix. But that feels a bit trickier to go for from castles than it does simply Savars from stables. We do have, what is this though? KingstoNe turning things around. He's going to be pushing Andy's base. He says, "You've trapped me in? No, you're trapped in with me." And now Andy, he's at 120 Vils. He has 43 military, but they're forward fire archers. I don't think Andy has a way to stop this. Maybe the best thing would be Mateo suddenly sending camels to help Andy. But Andy's going to lose a castle. He's going to lose a TC. He is at least imp. Well, Andy could now die here from KingstoNe. And Dagao has managed to run away. He's still on 60 Vils, which does kind of put him equal with Mala. The only downside for Dagao is he's still in the castle age, and it'll be up to his team to help sling Dagao back into the game as fast as they can. Magyars have a pretty smooth path to just spamming Hussars if they need to, although that's tricky against camels. And Andy's trying to defend with castles, but the castles are caught out of position by the camels. And that castle will go down to the elephants. Andy desperately trying to fight elephants. Gajur siege elephants with villagers. These Gajur elephants have extra bonus damage. They destroy buildings so quickly. And Andy is completely dead at home now. Remember when he was at 120 Vils a moment ago? He's now down to 56. He's losing all of these castles. Those Gajur elephants are crazy. Now there's still a 3-player rainbow pushing into Philip. Philip has siege onagers and halbs, and he has to hope that's enough. Vodka here with an insane army of siege onager bombard cannon, but they are just Malians. They don't have siege engineers. Those Savars could push here. I think there needs to be some quick walling from Dobbs to make sure Savars don't get into his base. The halbs are chasing them. I mean, if the halbs chase, that means... I mean, if the Savars run away, that means the siege onagers can just deal with these archers. This now gets a bit tricky for keeping that army alive. And great quick walls there. That's exactly what they needed. Degao quick walling to keep the Savars in. Some gates there from Dobbs. And now the Savars are kind of trapped. There are siege onagers chasing after them. As the halbs continue forward, Dobbs has to lock the gates and just make sure this army doesn't get in. Degao has to keep repairing. Meanwhile, there's a bear. Philip deletes the walls on the surrounding the bear. The camels are there, the halbs are there, onager shots are landing on the Savars. More walls just to keep them trapped. Everything to keep them penned in. All the Savars from Mateu are going down. They are trapped. At the same time, though, the push continues with the fire archers. Not really something that can be stopped. But now I think it opens up more room for Degao to get back and just spam camels. I mean, just spam hussars. But he still needs to boom up. He's at 94 vills, so he is still booming. The gate is open. KingstoNe will go through and then go right back out. He's like, no thank you, you have more camels than I do. I want this hill. Andy, he's rebooming into Gao's base. And also, yeah, remember earlier the Byzantine player had like no vills compared to Dobbs? Well, Dobbs is pushing. He's got halbs and rams. His team is on top despite Degao being dead. Right now, Andy's more dead than Degao is. Yeah, KingstoNe finally running into some camels, but he has the better camels. Frontier Guards basically cancels out Farimba, and then... Let's see, both players lack Blast Furnace. But then the Gajurs just have the extra bonus, right? Because what is Frontier Guards? That's... Farimba's +5 attack, and then Frontier Guards is +4 melee armor. So that's only +1 versus the extra attack. So I think Gajur Camels are just strictly better. Military units -25% food. He needs Kshatriyas. A few Cataphracts are out to help deal with halbs, but that's still a lot of halbs and a good ram push. And now the Bulgarians are holding. And I think the push from KingstoNe was enough. I think the Gajur elephants might do it. He needs to sling Andy some wood. Andy somehow now needs to hold against the halbs. And Imperial Age for Degao, Imperial Age for him. And now he needs to decide, do I open with a trash unit or do I just go cav archers? And he's thinking I'm just going to go cav archers. His teammates can sling him resources if they need to. Everyone's imp, aside from him. The elephant push continues. The elephants will decide to take the gate. But they're about to hit the production. They can hit the stables from Mateu. And Mateu has had to come over to help defend his fish against the Romans. And Mateu has lost the fish. So that means he now needs to add farms for his eco. And looking at his food, he only has 32 vills on food, which is not enough if you're trying to be a cav player. He has no more fish here, and the entire time, Philip, as the Bulgarians, has maintained the fish. The fact he's been fishing and hasn't needed as many farms has made it great to defend, as he hasn't lost as much as his base was pushed. He is reestablished, and now we have this weird alcove of Vodka plus FreakinAndy, who are forward into Gao's old base. KingstoNe still has his old base. And Andy's base has now been occupied by KingstoNe. There are X's everywhere from Vodka. And he's going to try to make a swap into Malian pikemen to fight the camels. And this is where you're the Malians, and you're asking, what do you do? Your camels are worse than the Gajur camels. You only have pikemen, you don't have halbs. You have arbs, but they don't have bracer. Everything you have that could fight the camels feels suboptimal. Maybe pikemen are the best answer. They'll help deal with the siege elephants, too. Yeah, and now there is the problem that... How are you going to trade, though, if you're KingstoNe's team? This is occupying your trade route. The other team, well, they've lost one... They've lost kind of two bases, though. How are they going to trade? They have a very short trade now from the middle of the map to the corner. And I guess you could do the same thing. Yeah, there are the markets for Dobbs, and you can go to the bottom of the map here. So both teams with short trade routes. Vodka may be stabilizing a bit now that he's going for pikemen. You're forcing the Gajurs then into chakram throwers or hand cannoneers. And Mala up to 120 Vils now. The downside is Mateo has been pushed. He's down to 86 Vils. He's been raided by these camels, and he's trying to defend with Savars. It's another situation where the Persian player probably needed to be going camels just to fight the camels, but their camels still lose. He could go for halbs, but then you feel like you're going halbs and you're not making a gold unit. And again, no bracer. You go commander in. I mean, maybe hand cannoneers to fight camels even are an option. So rams now from Philip, they will push into the siege onagers. As we have heavy cav archer from Degao. Onager hits the heavy cav archers. And the traction trebs will go down. Onagers will hit the fire archers. Cav archers hit the siege onager. And pikemen will hit the camel, and we will have elite fire archers from Andy. So the elite fire archers from Andy now are going to push KingstoNe's castle, and he's going to try to reclaim his base. And, I mean, KingstoNe hasn't been touched. His eco is still completely fine. He still has 130 Vils. He still has 4 of the 8 sheep in the mill. The thing is, Andy, is he dead? He still has 61 Vils, but now he's being pushed by Degao. Degao, who is reboomed. And now Andy only 60 Vils. And the tricky thing is Andy had been rebooming now, where they had been pushing, but now their push is forced back. And Dobbs here had been pushing. He's going full halb ram. The Byzantine player has cataphract hand cannoneer that should be able to deal with that. The Persian player 107 Vils. Their faster working TCs are nice for rebooming. And some of these forward castles are now getting cleaned. There's some deleted buildings in the trade trying to clear up their traffic jam. Someone didn't take their boars. I guess Vodka took the boars from Andy earlier. And those buildings from the Gao still are there. So it feels like now they're cleaning Andy's base. The problem is Andy doesn't have Vils in his base. All of his Vils are forward, so if he's going to reboom, he needs to run Vils back to his original base. As this castle's going down. Yeah, Andy has no safe TCs now. Well, he does. He managed to get a few Vils. How many Vils does he have over here? Let's see if I can get just Andy's Vils. He has 3 TCs, but only 20 Vils, maybe? If I don't select all of them. Oh, wait, those TCs aren't even safe. There's a castle that's attacking them. The castle killed the Vil, but that castle goes down. And I think KingstoNe should be pushed back. So the team's kind of reclaiming their original bases somewhat. I feel like Dobbs, let's see, he did cut another gate, so he can fall back. This game is absolutely wild. So is KingstoNe's base under attack? It might be soon, but I think he's fine. I mean, his base in Andy's base is under attack. He'll lose that castle to the fire archers that are elite. But Andy's down to 35 Vils, and he doesn't have any more castles for fire archers. So if his team slings him, it's not immediately apparent what unit he's going to make. He has these Vils that are running away, 0.97 speed, so at least he has handcart. Oh, Vodka needs a quick gate to save the Vils. Doesn't get it. The Hussars chase. One will attack the Walling Vils. He's got a siege onager. Okay, can he hit something? He can distract. He can distract the Hussars enough that only a Halb will chase the Vils now. Where's Andy going to go? Is that TC safe? That doesn't feel safe. But he's going to do as many TCs as he can, even underneath KingstoNe's buildings, because if this team's going to win, they need to get Andy back. They need to get Andy back for the population. They need to be slinging Andy stone for TCs, wood for TCs, Vils for food, whatever he needs. And they somehow need to do that sling while they're holding. And no one really is floating extra res. Philip and Degao both have a great stockpile of resources. Even KingstoNe and Dobbs stockpiling a bit. And when we look at the trade numbers, we have a lot of trade, even more trade carts being added in from green. That's about it. Okay, a few trade carts there from Degao. So the pockets have some trade. The flanks, some. On the other team, 45 trade carts from Mateo. No trade from... Oh, wait, that is a trade card. I didn't recognize the icon. Okay, 52 trade from Vodka. Here, I thought there was less trade than there was, because I didn't recognize that trade cart. I was looking for something like that. Okay, okay. The trade's better than I thought. Yeah, but now that they've cleared this base, as you write in the chat, they can trade long range, trade carts from the market, heading down here. Now the skirms will fight the halbs. Scorpions pushing forward. The weakness with regional unit skins. My favorite is when players have a camel as one of their starting scouts, and people think it looks like a turtle ship. Oh, there's a relic here. Hello, relic. Is the Gau's raiding with hussars. And Cav Archer Hussar. He does have a castle, but probably not enough production for Magyar Hussars. It's tricky, though, because it's still Magyars versus Farimba Camels, and you're relying on your Cav Archer Micro to avoid taking a bad fight against the Camels. And now Andy has rewalled. So aside from Dobbs being forward, everyone has essentially regained their initial bases. DeGao and Andy have traded positions back. And they've almost gotten trade lines back. Here, Dobbs, by virtue of being forward, still has control of the pond and still has control of the corner for the trade route. This could be a situation where they even might want to onager cut to get more trade. But big ram push now, but it's hard to push rams against siege onagers. And the rams, they'll get a couple workshops. Well, ultimately, the onager is going to take down a lot of rams. Those rams are expensive. And now your Magyars, yeah, your heavy Cav Archers are nice. They have extra range, but you're against siege onagers. Mateo's against siege onagers too. And there's a trade cart here for some reason. Hello, trade cart. Kingstone's back. I keep forgetting, do Gajurs have siege onagers? No, they don't. Okay, they don't have siege engineers. They don't have, but they have bombard cannon. All right. Forward castle from Kingstone. Can Andy's team do this? Andy up to 85 Vils now. He is making skirms, but the skirms will help against the Cav Archers from the Magyars. And they'll help against the halbs. If Andy can ever get back into a gold unit and go archers, he's making his trade now. Is this the right place for Andy to trade? He's going to trade diagonally with Mateo's markets. And looks like the game's gone on long enough, I've run out of the ability to click the snooze button for ads on Twitch. So hop over to YouTube if you don't want to be forced to sit through an ad. So we'll have camels here from Vodka. Vodka's the highest score in his team. But it's still that suboptimal Malians versus Gajur's camel matchup. And we have legionaries now for Dobbs. And if Mala doesn't have the economy to do hand cannoneers and cataphracts, that could be a problem. He has the perfect units for countering the legionaries. But he can't quite afford them now. He's out of gold, basically. And the team doesn't have trade. Now, Andy's starting to get back. 99 Vils, 100 Vils. And he has enough skirms out that he's making a unit that helps. He's making a unit that helps against the Cav Archers. And it's not like DeGao can go pure Hussar spam because he's fighting Farimba Camels. Still have more siege for Philip. And Philip's still playing this side. Oh, this game has been wild. Now the Camels fighting for DeGao. He has numbers over Kingstone. And I think now when we look at the gold numbers, that basically gives you the trade numbers. Yeah, Mateo and Vodka with a lot of trade. 64 trade cards for Philip. 51 and 12 more are on the way for DeGao. If he gets enough trade, he could stop going for Hussars and start going for Paladins, and it looks like that's what he's doing with the Cavalier upgrade. There's Baganes. Does that affect all infantry? Just the militia line. Alright, but he can start going for two-handed swordsmen rather than halbs. Don't know if that's actually better against the camels, but would be against the skirms. As these onagers continue pushing, they'll not hit the skirms. Andy's got to be very careful of the onagers. Vodka's dodging some onager shots too. In the north, this castle is standing. Byzantine castles are very hard to push. Mala going for skirms without Vodka. Mala needs some upgrades for those skirms. Byzantine skirms are cheap, but they need upgrades. And it feels like Dobbs is slowly but surely making progress. I just don't think Mullah has the gold he needs to hold this. He only has 19 trade carts. And this is also his last castle, so if he could use more cataphracts, he has to keep that castle up. And cataphracts, if he had 60 cataphracts, that'd be so nice right here, but he doesn't. The only unit he has are skirmishers, and Dagao coming this side with some paladins will help against them. Feels like it's mostly Mateo who's fighting up here. Despite the large number of units that it feels like Mullah has. Mullah's pop capped, but he's only at like 160 pop? Maybe he needs more houses somewhere. Oh yeah, he's losing his houses to the Rams from Dobbs, and that's gonna be a struggle for him. He doesn't really have space to rebuild the houses now. He needs to, like, Oninger cut the forest so he can fit houses. And very few castles this late in the game. Everyone's lost their castles. I feel like KingstoNe's team is pushing, and I don't think Vodka's team can hold this even with Andy back, foraging longswordsmen. Are you going to get Molly and Champ Scarls from Vodka? Like, that's going to be horrible against the Bulgarian swordsmen. Especially when they miss Blast Furnace. Oh, nice Oninger shot on the camels. And now Dagao able to get heavy cav archers up here in the north. Kshatriya has finally KingstoNe realized he's been making expensive camels the whole game. He needs cheap camels now. Philip asking for food. He's got 70 trade cards. He and Dagao have 70 trade cards. Lane champs are scary, but not scary enough. The team will call the GG. And what a crazy game that was. Dagao was completely dead. KingstoNe, isolated from his team, just goes for a Gajur elephant push, completely destroys FreakinAndy. Andy goes from 120 vils to around 30 vils in the blink of an eye. At the same time, Dobbs manages to deal with the Byzantine fast imp thanks to cannon galleons in a pond that just barely reach the castle. And somehow this team able to exchange bases several times, hold on, and tie this at 1-1. So we're going to have a game 3 that matters for the set. 634 kills for KingstoNe. 142,000 res collected for Philip, who never lost the pond and also grabbed some relics. Oh man, what a game that was. KingstoNe probably didn't believe he won. That was crazy. An absolutely wild game that was. Let's see, Twitch might not let me recharge the ads in between games. That's a win for the Bulgarians, the Magyars, the Romans, and the Gajurs against the Persians, Byzantines, Wu, and Malians. And that means the final civs for KingstoNe will be Berbers, Inca, Wei, and Muisca, and for Andy, Saracens, Lithuanians, Shu, and Tupi. Man, that game was awesome. We'll have to do that. We'll have to do some type of community voting for best game of the tournament. Let me see, Discord's working now. A message sensor about that. Let's see if we can put that together. I think that'll be a fun little addition. Some award voting. Ooh, so I'm sure the players need a bit of a recovery after that. They're slowly joining the lobby. I'm myself, I'm gonna run to the bathroom in between those games. And I'll be right back. Alright, so they're in the lobby. It'll be Chaos to win coming back on for Andy's team. It'll be Andy and Chaos as the flanks, Vodka and Mateo as the pockets. And aside from KingstoNe and DeGao, we're still looking for 2 more members of that team to join. Let me catch up on chat. Hello, Maple Leaf Lancer. Grey Knowledge. On YouTube, hello, Liddy and Dippity Dog. Yeah, Berbers, Muisca, Wei, and Inca. What 4 very different regions of civs? I guess Muisca and Inca are somewhat close. Okay, Saracen's Lithuanian Shu and Tupi are pretty far apart for Andy's team. There's a Wei emote, Pig Wei. Is that from one of the people from Harris tournament? Andy playing tournaments every game. I don't know what that is, Hawk in brackets. So Philip is rejoined, waiting for one last player for KingstoNe's team. So from these civs, my best guesses are Andy will use Shu and Tupi as the flanks, and KingstoNe will use Muisca and Berbers as the flanks. Honestly, KingstoNe feels like all 4 of those civs could be flank civs, but the Wei probably are the pocket. Putting one of the Last Chieftain civs as a pocket feels like you're guaranteeing you lose the wall off war because the champy is so weak and it takes forever to reach the walls. So I feel like they have to be the flank. Yeah, Berbers could go pocket for Camel Archer Bombard Cannon, but usually they're on the flank to be a Vil fighting civ. Inca could be a pocket. The Inca are... I don't know, I feel like they're kind of strong as a pocket, but you're not going to go Paladins with them. You can go for Onager. I guess they don't have Eagles anymore. I was thinking you could go Eagles, but no, it's Champies now. Yeah, I think Andy's civs are much better. You do have Berber Camels in case you have to fight Mamluks, but then... I guess Berber's Camels kind of can fight both pockets, but then Saracen Camels would just be better. Yeah, I think the Wei have to be the Cav pocket. Maybe you do go Berber pocket, then Inca, Muisca flanks. And Dobbs now hopping into the lobby there for KingstoNe's team. I do think Andy has much better civs for this final game. That's true, Muisca longer lasting gold as the team bonus is a nice team bonus. But also, they're not that great of a civ. They can go for their skirmisher unique unit and temple guards. And they do have siege onagers, I believe. It's still kind of meh. Not really a great civ. The Tupi, honestly, I am very scared of the Tupi. I've seen so many games with Blackwood Archers that just scare me. Other than Viper picking them as the pocket. I think if they get to the fully upgraded Blackwood Archers with the poison damage, they're actually an insane civ. I've seen them picked all the way at the end of drafts. And maybe they're not a top civ, but I don't think they're quite that bad as everyone's making them out to be. Maybe I'm overestimating them, but I'm just so scared of those Blackwood Archers. We're loading in. And here we are, game number 3. We'll have KingstoNe's team to the west, northwest, DeGao's team to the southeast. There is one pond on the map for each team, and it is towards the back of each flank. We'll probably have the Lithuanian player docking it. Mateo is the Lithuanian pocket here. on Andy's team. And then, in all likelihood, the Muisca could dock it as the pocket. Could Degao go all the way over there as the Wei? I mean, the Wei want the fishing lines and gill nets upgrades because they give extra vills. There's a bear in the middle of the passage, and the bear will fight Kingstone's villager. As Chaos goes for the forward wall, he'll lose the scout but get the wall up. And that bear helped him. There's a straggler as part of the wall. So, Inca Berber flanks, Wei Muisca pockets, and there still is a big passage down the middle of the map that will be awkward for whoever wants to go there because there are bears on... There are 3 bears, one on each side and one in the middle. And also for Andy as the 2P flank, a bit awkward for him to wall. Looks like the champions over here for the Inca and the 2P both went down. There is some walling for Dobbs as he's trying to keep that low HP Vill alive. And the pockets get their scouts forward. And where is the Muisca Champy? The Muisca Champy is just pushing deer. Philip's like, okay, we're walled. I'm gonna push deer. I'd love to see Kingstone chop the straggler and put the palisade atop it, but... Alright, more gates for Dobbs. We'll have a few wall tiles going up over here. And more Vill fights, as Andy would love to get a more forward wall, and he still has his pocket scout from Vodka there to help, but the wall has gone up for Dobbs, walling these Vills out. Andy might at least pick off another Vill, and nice play from Vodka to loop around the other side of the house, and he will kill the villager. This gate, I think 1 Vill out repairs 2. Can the scout attack the gate 2? Add more DPS, but there are more Vills to wall. So Andy does not get a good initial wall. However, the pocket from Degao will have to come forward to wall, and there is a bear in the way. And there is a very forward wall from Chaos. Chaos, who now has taken 2 bears, walled them in, and managed to avoid the other bear. He's bringing 2 boars with him. If he's greedy, he could go for 4. That might attract the bear. And... yeah, that's true. Kingstone is the Vill fighting Civ. Didn't quite get the best of forward walls. Chaos got the wall about in as good a spot as he could have. And indeed, it will be the Muisca docking the pond. So what do they boom into? Oh, Chaos isn't getting greedy. He's not going to take those 2 boars. Where's that boar going? Okay, that's just his... oh, he lost the boars. He lost the boars. Did a palisade and ran too far away. And I don't believe he has anything... oh, he does have Mateu's scout. So what he wants to do here is Mateu's going to block those boars. But yeah, he's going to give up on that. That's too far away. Yeah, and if Andy wanted FC Blackwood... wait, he actually did get a good wall. He sent a ton of Vills forward to destroy the gate. Dobbs must have backed off a bit. And he really wants this forward wall for the FC Blackwood archers. There's a gate, there's a gold forward for Dobbs, but his other 2 golds are in the back and his stone's in the back. That's nice for him. He also has deer that are right atop the berries. So another big Vill fight here. And Andy is committing to the Vill fight. He is committing to this. Kingstone's up to feudal. He's up on 19 pops, so he might be going for some men-at-arms or a tower rush or some fast pressure on the side. Andy doing what he can for the forward wall. He has, let's see, 6 versus 6, but more Vill HP here slightly. That low HP Vill for Dobbs needs to get back. And if Dobbs doesn't want that wall to go up, he'll need more Vills. Looks like Andy did also manage to get some laming with a forward Vill. A couple of cattle being sent over to Dobbs's TC. From Degao as the pocket. Big Vill fight continuing. Andy trying to block. Nice job blocking. Gets the Vill fight. And now he can get a very forward wall. Even going to take the boar. So he can take as much boar food as he wants. Then do a lumber camp. Or he can't because he doesn't have the wood for a lumber camp. And also he would do a settlement. So he needs even more wood. Because he's the 2P. So we'll look at the idle time now. And lots of idle TC time for Dobbs. As yeah, no food under the TC. And if he did not a settlement between the deer and the berries, that'd be a great settlement. But again, in the situation where he needs more wood for it, has one between the wood and the gold. Well, man, placing settlements, I think, on the flanks when they're extra expensive is really tricky. Vodka is just Xing everything on the map, being like, check here for sneaks, this wasn't walled. Degao got a very forward wall. And Degao's going to lure in a couple of boars himself. And there was a sneakville. There was a sneakville from Chaos, but it is picked off by KingstoNe. Picked off, walled in. There is a barracks here, but the barracks will be walled. I do think you actually want to get your scout out and then wall in the barracks fully, but no... there will be a militia, but the militia immediately walled in. So not going to cause too much damage. Might attack a gate and be annoying. Or you know what? You can just build the gate. You can build the gate, then the scout can get out. Oh, silly me. I forgot that a gate can actually function as a gate. Usually you see gates like this. They're walls. Which I guess also is the purpose of a gate. But yeah, this gate between the stone and the palisade here, the purpose of this gate is to prevent Chaos from re-walling behind the palisade. He can repair the palisade with a vill and attack the wall with an entire village. And then he'll need his own palisade there. But stone wall from KingstoNe and another gate on the other side, ensuring that there's no walling behind this. So there is a watchtower for Chaos and a watchtower from KingstoNe. And then Feudal Age for Degao, Mateo, and Vodka. So there's the tower that's up. And KingstoNe now will get some forward stone walls. So even though he didn't get the walls he wanted initially, by going Feudal faster, he could apply the faster trush and pressure and get the forward stone walls, which will be a bit stronger. But now Andy, with the forward settlement he eventually got from that boar, is up to Feudal. And we'll have a stable here from Vodka, so this is going to be very aggressive with probably a castle drop for Blackwood Archers. Is Andy on stone? Yes, indeed, he is on stone. And they'll be backed up by a Saracen's Pocket. Market for Vodka in the corner, getting ready for trade, I guess? I mean, he's building it in, maybe just wants more farming space in the middle of nowhere. That militia still stopped. And we'll see, we'll have 8 fishing ships versus 8. A bit more fish trap setup from Mateu. Fishing lines on the way for him. And Dobbs will be palisade walling towards his TC. He is still in the Dark Age, so he can't do stone walls. 246 idle TC time, and he lost 3 vills, so that's 26 vills to 27. But that's considering Andy has spent TC time just going up to the Feudal Age, and Dobbs hasn't. So Dobbs just clicking up now. If Andy stays Feudal, he'll fall behind by about 5 vills. Andy, just about with the res to click up, maybe can manipulate the market in order to find a way up quickly if he sells some stone and buys some food. Could sell wood even if he wants to. But the 2P Blackwood Archers are very cheap to amass. And as long as he gets up to the Castle Age, he doesn't even really need an economy. Yeah, and he'll sell wood, sell stone, sell wood, buy food. And he'll be up in no time at all. There are the resources. And there's the Castle Age clicked for him. Clicking Castle Age while the enemy flank is still up to Feudal. And the workshop is forward for Vodka. Couple of vills chopping the tree. Back farms for Dobbs. So important that the farms are not in front of the TC, because that's where they're most exposed. Maybe there's some thought process that your Dark Age farms go there, so your later farms with more food are in the back, and these you can let those expire. Are they putting the castle from Andy on Dobbs' face? I'm pretty sure they are. Andy still has 6 forward vills, and there will be a mangonel from Vodka. So what is Degao going to do? He's going to say, I have some scouts. If I need to, maybe I can send the scouts to help Dobbs. But I'm focusing on a mangonel push. As Andy is going for a stone wall, will that be up in time for the mangonels? Light cav for Degao, but camels for Vodka. So if there is a stable play from Degao, the camel should be able to engage And that should stop the camels from being able to, or should stop the light cav from being able to interfere with the castle. So those are the stone walls from Dobbs. Doing what he can not to let this in, but 30 seconds from the castle age is Andy, who will undoubtedly drop the forward castle. Degao going to maybe take a page out of the playbook from the previous game, and if they are attacked, he will just counterattack, rather than dealing with the attack himself. And Doc in the back, or Pond in the back, more docks being added for Philip. And now more docks also for Mateo. Mateo, actually, 49 vills in a great spot. Degao, 36. Philip, 46. Up, and there is said castle from Andy. And this is now Dobbs is in the awkward spot of what do you do? He says, I've had enough of this. He is not going to wait. He is going to run immediately. Degao has to fight a bear, but he will stonewall this as all the vills make their great escape. And as soon as the vills are away, he will do wheelbarrow so the vills run faster. Once wheelbarrow finishes, he'll probably delete the TC and rebuild it somewhere in the back of somewhere in the back of Degao's base. A walk of shame. At least wheelbarrow's on the way, so they go faster. And KingstoNe, 1, 2, 3, 4 TCs. 4 TC boom is the Berbers. Beautiful TC right between a gold and a stone mine. And the camels here will keep the light cav from Degao at bay. Monk wants a conversion. There's nothing to fight the camels other than lucky mangonel hits. That is still open, though. Still open. Mangonels at the vills, so the vills have to run away. And Blackwood Archers for Andy. Remember, they train in pairs. Deleted TC for a TC in the back. Dobbs will have to take the Gao's gold. He will need gold eventually to go up to the Castle Age. I guess he has that now. And remember, you cannot sling until the Imperial Age. Sometimes the rule in tournaments is you can sling people if you are in Imp or they are below you, so you could do a Castle to Feudal sling. Here it has to be you are in Imp. So 1, 2, 3 TCs. And I suppose on Black Forest, maybe there would be cases where someone in the Castle Age would be slinging a flank who's super aggressive and feudal. And they might just stay feudal to receive sling, but not allowed here. As we'll have Dobbs building the wall. As he's reinforcing the wall, but not able to finish it as the archers are there in time. And he will try to re-wall this. Monks and mangonels over for Degao. Gonna get rid of those walls so Degao can position his mangonels better. And start re-walling. Other than that, everyone booming. Nice outpost between the wall tiles. Slinging to a guy who techs up fast. So that's you can't sling someone ahead of you, right? So like that was classic Age of Empires team games. Every game was sling the Maya, get them to imp, making elite plumes. I don't think there's ever a case where you'd have like Byzantine fast imp sling. I think imp itself is too expensive to make that viable. Even if you could do banking. There's a petard mixed in there from Andy to try to break the walls. Remember, feudal stone walls have less HP. And you could just go for the gate. Or that's deleted. Oh, mangonels explode the petard. Now, monks for Degao, going for conversions. A nice hit on the Blackwood Archers. Nice hits on the Blackwood Archers, and they all die. Andy not microing there like he needed to. But Vodka's here with enough camels to push. Degao didn't have enough monks to convert all of them. And here come more Blackwood Archers. Tower will fire at the Palisades. Fletching will come in for Dugao at that blacksmith. Archery range is going up for Dugao, who's trying to make an archer switch into the Shinbei Raiders. Will that be enough against Blackwood archers and camels? Questionable. Not sure what else he really does against camels, though. The Wei have 3 incredibly strong units, but they are all still weak to camels. And Vils in the TC for Dugao. And there will be a castle going up for Dugao right in the middle of his base. TC hits the archer. Champy can clear this. Champy. From Philip, as he's up to Imp, and he's doing Champy Runner. Is this going to come down to Philip booming and making Champy? Elite Champy from the Muisca? Do they have any bonus for the Champy? Extra melee armor. I'd be great against the camels, I guess. They'll move faster if he researches herbalism. Okay, they do. I was going to say, if they had herbalism but didn't have herbal medicine, that would be weird, but they do. Kind of like the Huns. They can research faith and also atheism. Alright, TC attacking the camels. The camels trying to dive and stop Dugao from making a castle. Dugao under a ton of pressure. There's an X here from Chaos, as it looks like Mateo will want to push there. Also, Mateo, as the Lithuanians, does not have any relics. Vodka has 2 relics. He needs to give them to his teammate, as the castle is denied. And Philip will be indeed going for the Champy Runners. Needs to upgrade them. He's doing Champy Warrior. And I'm still of the opinion the final tech, instead of Elite Champy Warrior, should be called Champy Champion. I think that a huge missed opportunity in the naming there. Looks kinda done, but yeah, last game did look done too. And maybe Philip can carry. He has a fish boom for Champy. And the Lithuanians don't have relics. So maybe there's a chance. Wait, the monk is grabbing a relic. There will be the first relic. As the Vils come forward for Philip, they will go for a castle. So forward castle to counter the aggression from Mateo, but the Blackwood archers could deny this castle. Dobbs is just adding a TC to boom. This castle might go down very quickly, as there are the archers, and the camels will even jump the Vils. Mangonel gets a hit on some Vils. Elite Champy Warriors fending off the camels for the moment. The castle goes down. 8 pierce armor for these things, 6 melee armor. And they kind of counter both of this, but they're very slow. If he does arson, they don't have arson. I was going to say arson could help out against the castle. I mean, Vil counts for both teams are similar, because Andy has gone for the aggression. I mean, but Andy's at 56 Vils, and he's taken over Dobbs' base completely. And he actually has TCs in Dobbs' base now. I mean, I don't know if did Dobbs delete those farms? Andy might have stolen them. The food replenishes itself when you steal it. And thank you, Kabasi, for the follow. Oh my gosh, look at these Chaos deciding, oh, I can build houses here. I won't lose them if I'm pushed. KingstoNe now, as the Berbers, is pushing. And honestly, if this... I think the downside is Dugao is kind of dead. Because if this were a 3v3, I think KingstoNe's team would be fine. But it's kind of a 2v3 now. Chaos honestly doesn't have that many Vils. 77 to 119 for KingstoNe. And I haven't been paying attention to this side as much because it's mostly been booming. But with only traction trebs, there's no way that this castle gets pushed. And the Berbers are a very scary civ. KingstoNe doing Cavalier. They are extremely cheap for him to spam forward. Chaos has to wall. And if the Champy can clear this, which is maybe a big if, it'll be okay. But now Mateo is able to swap over here with his Lechai, which will ignore all of the extra melee armor that the Muisca Champies have. And I think at the moment, KingstoNe has to send camels here. Temple Guards. Elite Temple Guards. Yeah, they have an attack bonus against Cav, but I don't think they're what you want against Lechai. Remember, there are no... I don't think there are Halbs. Do they have Halbs? Yeah, only pikemen, no halbs available to the Muisca. And as Dagao's castle falls down, Mamluks come forward. They should be able to deal with all of the infantry. And I don't think that Philip has a civ that can carry this. Dobbs is still rebooming. Andy's up to imp. Vodka's up to imp. Vodka able to make Mamluks. And yeah, Chaos is dying. And yeah, maybe they get to the fish. I guess that is the one advantage. KingstoNe's team will have their fish. There are some Shinbei Raiders here. The Mamluks are going down. The Temple Guard's an okay unit to have here. The push is stalling a bit. If they can hold this, it's a lot of wasted momentum from Mateu. He's trying to get Trebs forward. Dagao on 74 Vils is enough to get just a few Shinbei Raiders out. But they just... It's a good thing the Elite Leichai then only have 5 Pierce Armor, because that'll be 2 damage. Paladins would be taking 1 damage here. And the Temple Guards are actually wrecking the Elite Leichai. And let's look at this. 3 relics. Vodka needs to give another relic to his teammate. Vodka hogging the relics from his Lithuanian teammate. The Temple Guards will come forward. They will destroy 1 Treb. They will destroy a 2nd Treb. Andy's up to imp. The castle goes down just before the Treb goes down. There needs to be just a bit of repair there. The Gao could have helped the teammate out. And now the Leichai from Mateo have to come down to fight KingstoNe. And KingstoNe has a good push here now with some bombard cannon against this castle. He has a Treb out too. If we can get another Treb, the castle I think would surely go down. The TC also fairly weak. The traction Treb's pushed back. Chaos has 70 Vils. It's a good thing that Arbs are cheap. He has a lot of ranges, and this is a situation where his team slings him to Arbs basically, so he gets army to try to hold this. Because now what they need are players. He only has 18 military, and you're basically going Leichai against camels now, which is not the matchup you want. And as strong as this unit is, it feels like Mateo hasn't quite figured out where he can use it properly. He's tried pushing both sides so far, and likely dissatisfied with both results. Leichai fighting the Temple Guards. The Shinbei Raiders shoot back at them. Backward archers forcing the Temple Guards back a bit. But there are the GGs from KingstoNe's team. I think they're realizing this push isn't enough. And Andy will win that 2-1. What a game that Game 2 was here. But I think the Civ advantage for Andy in the draft for Game 3 was huge. The results of KingstoNe losing Game 1 using lots of draft capital with 3 of his top civs was rough for that team. And that's 3,000 military score for the Lithuanian player, who tied with Philip with 126 kills. That was a weird ending to the game, because it felt like no one was really winning a fight, but Dobbs simply was too dead from the 2P push. Andy hard committing to the Vil fight for the forward walls and getting that forward castle in range of the TC was extremely good. And Vodka, great communication with the team to go for the forward push and ensure that the workshop was there to support the castle. And well done. Maybe they could have done more walling from Dagao in between to slow down the push. Because it felt like they had something kind of brewing when the boom happened. And the Leichai kind of stalled out against the Temple Guards. But by that time, it was maybe a bit too late for them. So I can check off the rest of the civs. Those are losses for KingstoNe and wins for Andy. Yeah, but that first game, it felt like Andy had a civ advantage too, I think. But man, that second game where their Gao was completely dead, but KingstoNe's team came back. That's why we love Rage Forest, because we see absolutely crazy stuff like that. And I hope you guys have been enjoying, because we're going to have more of this coming up this week. This is the end of the first round. We're going to have the second round coming up. Someone said we should have some type of voting for first game, or maybe like MVP or best highlight. We're going to see if we can organize that. I just messaged Sensar about that. So hopefully we'll have that set up in the future. Keep an eye out for more Rage Forest. Teams will be scheduling, so keep an eye out for the schedule. I'll promote that as much as I can once we get something set more in stone. And thank you all very much for watching. That's our only set for today, but we'll have more coming up. We'll also be casting the League as we have sets for that. I think that'll be starting tomorrow, I see. Also, hamsters versus clowns. So whatever we're around to cast, we will cast. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And that'll be it for me for today. But we'll be back again tomorrow. So also big shout out to Sensar and everyone who's been helping out organizing this in the Rage Forest Discord. It has legit been a pleasure to work with them. And I think they've done a great job so far this tournament. So many good tournaments, good team game tournaments. I'm glad that we actually have the like the draft system for Rage Forest. So it's not exactly the same teams as the League. So it's not like we're just casting teams in one tournament and casting the same things in another tournament. It still feels fresh and different to come here and see how the drafts play out. So thank you all so much for watching. VOD will be up on Twitch and on YouTube if you want to watch it. I'll go add, I guess I just need a quick timestamp for when the game starts. Thank you so much, and we'll be back tomorrow. And we'll find someone